Hey guys, welcome to yoga class. Today's class is called Half Moon Yoga because that's going to be our peak posture, half moon. So this sequence is for hamstring and shoulder opening, as well as back bending and balancing to prep for the posture of half moon pose. For this practice today, you're going to need a strap and 2 blocks. So go ahead and get your props, get situated on your mat, and we're gonna get started in a reclined position. So when you're ready, go ahead and come on to your back. Just gently resting your entire back, shoulders and head onto the mat. And grab onto your strap. We're gonna start to open up with the strap. So we'll lift one foot. I'm going to start off with my right leg, and then I'll take one end of the strap to loop around my foot. From here, I'll send my foot straight up. Looking at the foot, I can walk my hands up the strap as much as is comfortable, and I really want this leg to be straight. Then from here, I can start to pull the strap closer to my body so that I can really start to feel into the hamstring. You might notice your hands walking further up the strap, but just start off with gentle stretching. No need to go at the most intense level. Just ease into the hamstrings. It takes them a while to warm up, so we don't want to cause any stress. And just notice that the longer you're here, the more you might be able to open this area up. If it's available, you can pull a little more. Find that sweet spot, the point of a deep stretch, feeling sensation, but not feeling pain. As you hold your right leg in this position, go ahead and extend your left leg. Feel the heel of your left foot on the mat. Take one more round of breath. And then lessen the pull of the leg. So you want to bring your ankle in line with your knee, knee in line with your hip. So think about your leg being at neutral. As you inhale, point your toes, and as you exhale, flex your foot. Inhale, point, exhale, flex. And we'll take one more. Movement is following the breath. And then from here, we'll bend the knee. As you exhale, press the foot back up. Inhale, bend again. Exhale, press the foot up. One more time. Inhale, bend. Exhale, press the foot up. Now, taking your right hand only to the strap that's connected to your right foot, open your left arm out. Slowly open that right leg out to the right. Notice if that left hip is rolling off the mat. If so, take your left hand to gently rest on the front of the left hip. Without pushing, just gently resting it there as a reminder to keep it down. Feel a nice stretch for the inner thigh on the right side. And on your next inhale, lift your leg up. Bend your knee. Now, take the knee out wide. So rather than the knee coming into the chest, think about the knee coming outside of the ribs. You can keep your hand on your strap, or you might reach your hand to the pinky side of your foot if that's available. Half happy baby. Now feeling into the hip. And then from here, we're going to release that right hand. Take the left hand outside of the right thigh. Now open the right arm out to the right. Gently guide the right knee over to the left As you gaze to the right, keep the right shoulder down. Spinal twist, just a few rounds of breath here. Option to keep the knee bent, or you can take your left hand to grab onto the strap if it's still connected to your foot, and then straighten the leg if you'd like to get into the IT band. If that's too much, you can come back to that bent knee. Take one more round of breath. On your next inhale, lift that right knee up, roll onto your back. Grab onto the other end of the strap. Now lift your left foot. Take your left foot into the loop of the strap and let the right foot go. Bring the sole of the right foot down to the mat. Bring both hands to the strap and slowly straighten the leg. As you straighten the leg, notice how much your hands can walk up the strap as you feel the left hamstring starting to open up. Remember, give yourself time. Slowly easing into the hamstring. Taking time to warm the body up. Noticing at any point if you can reach higher. Maybe offering yourself a deeper stretch if it feels appropriate at this point of your practice. This is where we really need to tune in and listen to the body. The body will let you know what it needs. Just a couple more rounds of breath. And then from here, just lessen the pull. Bring the leg back to neutral so the ankle is above the knee, knee is above the hip. From here, holding onto the strap as you inhale, point your toes towards the ceiling. Nice stretch for the top of the foot. Exhale, flex. Movement following the breath, 2 more rounds. Getting some ankle mobility as well. Bring the foot to neutral. Now from here, go ahead and extend your right leg, bringing the right heel to the mat, flexing the right foot. Reach the left hand up the strap, open the right arm out, let it ground down. Slowly start to open the left leg out. As you do this, pay attention to the right hip. If it starts to roll off the mat, then you can take your right hand just gently resting, not pressing, just a reminder to keep it down. Give yourself an opportunity to feel into the left inner thigh. Notice that the more you pull your strap towards your arm, the deeper you're going to feel the stretch. So find your edge. On your next inhale, lift the foot straight up, bend your knee. Now remember, take the knee wide for half happy baby. You might walk your hand up the strap and hold on there, or you might take your hand, your left hand, to the pinky side of your left foot. Continue to activate through the right leg, pressing the right heel to the mat. Think about the left knee coming outside of the left ribs. Really pulling your foot and your leg down. Close your eyes. Notice where you feel sensation. And let the eyes flutter open. Release your left hand from your foot or your strap. Open it out to the left. Take your right hand to the outside of your left thigh. Gently guide your left knee over to the right. Spinal twist. Now, look to the left as you do this. Keep the left shoulder down. You've got option to extend that left leg if you want to, stretching the IT band. And if that's not available, no worries. You can leave the knee bent. But just notice how this feels in your back space. And on your next inhale, lift the knee up to center. Feel your back rolling onto the mat. Lower that left foot to the mat. And then from here, bend the right knee. Take a full round of breath here. You can bring your arms onto the mat. As you exhale, open your mouth, let it go. Now lift your feet, take your hands behind your knees. Lift your tailbone and gently rock up and down. You might take this a few times if you want a little extra. And whenever you're ready, come on to your seat. We're gonna do some seated work here. First off, starting with a breath work technique. This is one of my personal favorite ones to get myself balanced in a moment where I feel like I might be a little off. It doesn't take very much time at all, and I find it very helpful. So this is our seated cat-cow, and we're gonna add our hands into it. So take the right hand to the heart center, left hand on top of the right. As you inhale, send your heart forward, opening the chest. And as you exhale, bring the heart in, belly button towards the spine. Each time you inhale, open the heart, shine it forward. And each time you exhale, round the spine. Getting extension as you exhale. As you inhale, extension, and as you exhale, flexion. So we're getting some spinal mobility in our practice. Also with the spinal twisting that we just did. Continue to move with your breath. Inhale, open the heart, send it forward. Exhale, round the spine. Maybe you close your eyes as you do this and just simply notice how this feels in your back space. Let's take one more full round. And then we'll come back to a neutral spine. So from here, for the next posture that we're gonna take is Paschimottanasana. This is gonna be a seated forward bend. You can use your strap if you would like. Some people really like to reach for the feet. But in this posture, first of all, legs are gonna come together. When we reach and wanna connect the hands to the feet, sometimes the legs pop up, and we don't want that to happen. We wanna keep the legs down. So the strap can come in handy to come around the arches of the feet. Inhale, reach the crown of the head up. And as you exhale, hinge at the hips, fold forward. Feel the belly coming towards the thighs. Feel a nice stretch in the back. Tuck your chin towards your chest. Notice if you can reach higher up on the strap. With each exhale, fold a little deeper. Feel into the hamstrings, feel the calf muscles, the back space. Now, for those of you that are really flexible in the back of the body, you might take a block to the feet and hold on to the block. It's going to give you a longer reach. And take a few more rounds of breath here. With each exhale, fold a little deeper. Relax the head and the neck. And feel the stretch going all the way up the back. Anytime you're stressed out, know that these forward folds are really great for relaxing. On your next inhale, lift your head. And if you're working with a prop, just set it aside for now. Come back to a straight spine. Take a full round of breath. Exhale, let it go. And then look at your feet. You want to bring your feet to one end of the mat so that you've got space to come back onto your back. So we're going to do supported back bending now to prep us for what's to come later. We're going to take one block at the medium height underneath the back. The other block might support your head at whichever height you need. So I'm going to demonstrate two different options. This first option, I'm taking the spine of the block underneath my spine, just from the mid back to the upper back. You want to avoid placing the block on your neck and on your low back. So this second block can support my head. Now, if you have neck issues, you're gonna wanna rotate that block to a higher height. So maybe the medium or taller height. Check and see how that feels. The higher up that block at your head is, the less intensity of the back bend that will be, getting extension in the spine. Now, if you're trying this and you're feeling like, oh, this is really intense, then there is a second option that I'll demonstrate in just a moment. If you're here and this feels good, you can open your arms out, wrist in line with the shoulders, getting a nice chest and shoulder stretch. Now, if this option is just a little too much for you today, then I'd like to invite you to come into the second option, which is to take the short ends of the blocks together and position them so that the long edge is towards your back. You're gonna place your shoulder blades onto the blocks. So facing away from the blocks, resting the shoulder blades on top, and then bringing the head back. That will be more gentle if that's what you need today. Now just close your eyes and breathe. Let the assistance of the props, the blocks, press into the upper back, releasing any stagnant energy, any congestion or tightness. Exhale, let it go. Take another round of breath. And then slowly start to come out. Coming back up into your seat. Now that is one of those postures that I find that when I'm teaching in-person classes, people don't want to come out of that one. So if you're the type of person like me that carries stress in the upper back area and the trapezius as well, the neck, then you're really going to like that first most intense option, and you're welcome at any point in your practice or any part of your day to come into that one for a longer amount of time. Maybe 3 to 5 minutes, maybe 8 to 11 if you're wanting a much longer time, but that is going to be a really great one to get rid of tension in that place. So for now, we're going to move the blocks out of the way. We're going to now come onto our belly for some prone positions. Find your way onto your belly, onto your mat. And as you get there, just rock from side to side. Let the legs ground down. Uncurl the toes. And then from here, start off by positioning the wrist under the shoulders, gaze forward. Just notice how your back feels. If you've been having trouble with your back, you might find this level of extension a little uncomfortable. We're going to start by lowering the chest down and taking the hands underneath the shoulders. Now, once you have the hands underneath the shoulders, just lift your chest, gaze forward. Notice where you feel activation in the back space. And then exhale, lower down. Connect your forehead to the mat. And then from here, just slide your hands towards your ribs. So you're bringing your wrist more in line with your elbows. On your next inhale, lift your chest, gaze forward, press the tops of your feet to the mat, and then see if you can lift your hands slightly off the mat. More activation for the back, intensifying our back bending. Exhale, lower the forehead to the mat. Hold and breathe here. Now this next round, we're going to bring our hands behind our back, interlace the fingers, press your palms together, and then from here, inhale, lift the chest, let the shoulders open, exhale, lower down. Release the hands, open them out by the sides. Taking another lift, inhale, lift the head, lift the chest, lift the legs, lift the arms. See if you can hold here for 2 rounds of breath. 1 more round of breath. You've got this. Exhale, let it go. Now inhale, lift your head. Bring your forearms to the mat, just like we started. Elbows are under the shoulders. We're gonna come into a half bow pose, which we're gonna revisit later on in our standing positions. So we're gonna do one side at a time. We'll start off by bending the left knee. And as you bend the left knee, forward. Take the left hand now to connect to the foot. Left hand meets the left foot. And as you inhale, look forward, lift your right leg, lift your right arm, half bow. If you feel any pain whatsoever in your knee or your low back, you can release and come out. And know that on the next exhale, we'll release so that we can get into the other side. So we're gonna lower all the limbs, disconnect the hand from the foot, reach the left arm forward, lower the left foot down, take your forehead to the mat, take a full round of breath. Inhale, lift your head. Keep the left arm down, bend the right knee, take the right hand to connect to the right foot, and then lift the left arm, lift the left leg, press the right foot to the right hand, right thigh is lifted. Breathe, 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 half bow. And as you exhale, gently lower the limbs down, disconnect. Take your forehead to the mat, take a round of breath. Bring your hands under your shoulders. Bring your feet together. Now use your energy to lift your hips, straighten the arms, your heels, and bring your arms by your sides, forehead to the mat. Now we're coming into child's pose with the knees together. This way we're honoring the low back, we're getting flexion in the spine, we're taking a counter stretch from all the back bending that we just did, moving from extension in the spine to flexion. A couple more rounds of breath. Feel into the back space. Close your eyes and simply notice how your physical body feels so far in your practice. On your next inhale, lift your head. Walk your hands forward and come into a tabletop position. So now we're going to align the wrists under the shoulders, spread the fingers wide, knees under the hips. And then from here, you can take a few kneeling cat-cows. Inhale, belly lowers, tailbone lifts. Exhale, lift the upper back, tailbone lowers. Now, as you do this, feel how deep of a stretch you can get in the upper back, keeping the arms straight, lifting the back, pressing the mat away. One more round. And then make your way into a neutral spine. From here, we'll take one block underneath each hand. Noticing that as you do this, you're going to get much more of a lift, which is going to help you bring your foot forward. Coming into one side at a time, we're going to come into a knee down lunge. So as you inhale, lift your left knee, step your left foot forward. As you step your foot forward, press your hips forward. You want your knee tracking above your ankle, and then bring the blocks back enough so that they're in line with your shoulders. Now, it might be more comfortable to you to keep your hands on the blocks in terms of balance. If you feel pretty good with your balance and you want to go for shoulder opening and back bending, then you can take your hands behind your back, interlace your fingers like we did before, press the palms together, open the heart, and gaze up to the ceiling. And as you feel the shoulders and the chest opening, you're also feeling a nice stretch at the front of the right hip. Exhale, release the hands, take them back onto the block. Now, so that you can straighten the left leg. Now, as you straighten the left leg, lift the toes off the mat. Take an inhale breath. And as you exhale, fold forward. bring your upper body towards your left leg. Now, you don't have to work with the blocks. You can bring your fingertips or your palms directly down to the mat as you continue to fold. Nice deep stretch for the left hamstring. Preparing to come out. Inhale, lift your head. Reach for your blocks. Bend your knee. Exhale, take the hips back. Couple more rounds. Inhale, bend. Exhale, take it back. Inhale, bend. Now from here, slide the left foot back. Bring the left knee in line with the right. Taking those options now on the opposite side, using the blocks to bring the floor up to us, creating more of a lift, making space to now bring that right foot through. Lift the right knee, step the right foot forward, and then press the hips forward. Now, shimmy that foot forward if you need to get your knee tracking above the ankle, and then walk the blocks back. This way you're upright, you're facing forward, you're not dumping weight forward. You can decide if you keep your hands on the blocks, or you can go for shoulder opening, taking the hands behind you, interlacing the fingers, pressing palms together, opening the heart, taking a little back bend, gazing up. Keep pressing the hips forward. Lots of activation happening in the body, deep stretching in lots of different parts. Now, gently release the hands. Take the hands back to the blocks. Take the hips back, straighten the right leg, lift the right toes off the mat. Once the right leg is straight, take an inhale breath, gaze forward, and as you exhale, fold. Think about bringing your torso towards the mat. You can abandon the blocks and bring your hands down to the mat and continue to fold as you exhale. Simply notice this right hamstring. Know that we're going to prepare to come out and move with our breath. Inhale, lift the head. Take the hands to the blocks, slide the blocks back if you need to, and then inhale, bend the knee, send it forward. Exhale, take the hips back, straighten the right leg, and we've got a couple more rounds. Movement following the breath. Each time you transition, notice how good it feels to open your body up. Feel gratitude for this time of your practice. Now, from here, we're going to come into a standing forward fold. So you can decide how you want to get there. I'm going to demonstrate by sending my right foot back. And then from here, you can use the support of the blocks. You can curl your toes, lift your hips, and then walk your feet forward. Or you can do this without the blocks if you prefer. If you don't want to fold all the way and you want more of a half lift, you can support yourself with the blocks underneath your hands. Otherwise, you can let the blocks go, and as you exhale, fold, letting your arms dangle, or taking your hands to opposite elbows, framing your head with your arms, getting more traction for the spine, stretching the back of the body, just like we did in our seated forward fold, but now with our feet as our foundation. If you notice that you're holding your head up, let it go. Maybe shake your head from left to right, right to left, forward and back. Moving your head as if you're saying, yes, I love yoga. If your hamstrings are really open, you can take your hands to your ankles and practice pulling your chest towards your legs. Now, if that really disrupts your balance, then come back to one of the other options. If your hamstrings are tight, bend your knees. Give yourself time to open up. We're going to take a couple more variations in this forward fold to continue to deepen the stretch at the legs, preparing ourselves for standing balance work to come later. Release the elbows if you're holding them with your arms. Now heel toe the feet together. Bring the big toes together. From here, if your hands don't reach the mat, bring your fingertips to the mat or take your hands to a block or two. Wherever you are, bend your left knee deeply. Keep the right leg straight. You might already feel a really great stretch going up the right leg into the right hip. You can stay here if this is enough for you, or you can walk your hands outside of the left pinky. So hands are coming to the left edge of the mat. Relax the head. Keep the right leg straight. Keep the left knee bent. Let go with each exhale. So much gratitude for this amazing body that lets you move, practice, spend time with yourself. Now bend your right knee. Both knees are bent. Bring your hands in front of your feet. Now straighten your left leg. Keep a bend in the right knee. Notice how this feels on this side. Maybe you stay here, and that's totally fine. I can already feel a nice deep stretch going up my left leg into my left hip. You can also take the hands to walk over to the right side of the mat, outside of the pinky side of the right foot. Remember, right knee is bent, left leg is straight. Letting so much tightness and tension go. Really serving your body today in a very safe, therapeutic way, thinking about your alignment and protecting your body from possible injury. Now bend the left knee. Both knees are bent. Take both hands in front of your feet. Inhale, take a half lift. Bring your palms to your shins. Reach the crown of your head forward. And then exhale, fold. From here, look at your feet. Lift your right foot, cross your right ankle behind your left, and on your next exhale, fold again. See if you can stay in the fold with your legs as straight as possible. Let's take one more round of breath. You can challenge yourself more by walking your hands towards your heels. That's going to provide a deeper stretch. Inhale, half lift. Take the right foot back over to the right side. Exhale, fold. Inhale, look at the feet. Exhale, take the left foot behind the right. Come into your fold. See if you can keep the legs straight. Hands can stay forward, or you can walk them closer to the feet. All we need to do is hold and feel into the legs, into the hips, into the body, letting so much opening happen. From here, we're going to take the left foot back over to the left side. Inhale, take a half lift, and exhale, fold. From here, bend your knees and gently start to roll up. Take your time, there's no rush. And as you roll up, you're coming into Tadasana, mountain pose. Arms are by your sides. Inhale, lift the shoulders up to the ears. Exhale, take them back and down. A few more, letting the shoulders move. Opening the heart each time the shoulders come back. The next time the shoulders come back and down, take your hands to your glutes as if you're putting your hands in your jeans pockets. Fingers are pointing down. And from here, standing solid in your standing foundation, press the hips forward, little back bend, gaze up. Slowly come out, Back to mountain, arms by your sides. Looking to your feet, make sure your feet are hip distance. And then from here, inhale, sweep the arms up. Exhale, hinge at the hips. Coming into a half lift, take your hands to your blocks. Bring your blocks outside of your feet. So one block is outside of the left foot, one block is outside of the right foot. Keeping your hands on the blocks at the highest height, lift your right foot, step it back just halfway, and then you can rotate your right toes to the right side of the mat. Taking an inhale breath in this half lift, and as you exhale, fold. Think about bringing your torso towards your left leg. As you fold, think about sending that left hip back, right hip forward. Little micro movement, more intensity. Again, you don't have to work with the blocks. You can bring your fingertips or your palms straight down to the mat. This is just your preference and your practice. Find what's working for you. Inhale, take your half lift. And exhale, take your right foot in line with your left and go into your fold. Check and see if you notice a difference between the left leg and the right leg. On your next inhale, half lift. Exhale, lift the left foot, take it back halfway. Rotate the toes to the left edge of the mat. Take an inhale breath. And as you exhale, fold forward. Now feeling the sensation on the right side. This is an awesome posture. I love it. I love hamstring opening. Remember, fingertips or hands can come down to the mat. Meet your body where it is today. Think about sending that right hip back, left hip forward. On your next inhale, take your hands to find the blocks. Step the left foot in line with the right and fold. Removing the blocks out of the way, letting the arms dangle. Now feeling into both legs. Bend the knees. Take your time to slowly come up. There's no rush. Head comes up last to prevent you from getting dizzy. Firmly pressing your feet to the ground. And as you find standing, arms are back by your sides. Back to Tadasana, our mountain pose. Now, know that we are in the peak part of our practice. Now that we've really opened up our body, we're going to come into our sequence and we're going to do it all on one side and then we're going to try it all on the other side. Starting in our mountain pose, feet hip distance. So come to the top of your mat. In your mountain pose, as you inhale, bring your arms up. Now, as you exhale, lift one knee up, take your hands to your knee, and then see how it feels to bring your knee towards your shoulder. Now, you've got the option to stay here. You can even draw circles with your big toe for ankle mobility, opposite direction. If you're here and this does not feel accessible to you, then you can take one hand to your shin and the opposite hand to a wall space. So know that the wall is a really awesome prop for this option. Totally fine to stay like this. Now, if you want to go deeper, you can take your hand or your strap to practice straightening your leg, bringing your foot forward. If this feels totally comfortable and you want to go even deeper, you might practice bringing the leg out to the side. Now we're getting external rotation for the hip. Maybe the other arm comes out. So remember, these are all just options. You don't have to take them. Just find what your body needs. Leg doesn't have to be fully extended. It doesn't have to be out to the side. Foot can come forward. It doesn't have to be straight. The knee can be bent. The hand can be at the shin. Take what your body needs. This is your practice. You decide. And wherever you are, just find your way back to a bent knee. Now, as you come into your bent knee, we're going to come into our dancer pose. So without touching the ground, see if you can take your hand now to your foot rather than your shin. Now, from dancer, we're going to transition into some other options, so you might want to have a block close by. I'm going to turn to a side view so that you can see where I'm going from here. If you want to work with the block, or if you rather do this at the wall, you can go ahead and set yourself up for that. All right, so our dancer pose, hand is to the foot that we just were working with. From here, we want to press our foot to our hand and hinge at the hips at the same time. Reaching opposite hand forward, pressing standing foot into the mat. We're in our dancer pose. From here, we're going to very carefully lower our hand down to the block. You might bend your standing knee, play around with the positioning of the block, and then straighten the leg again. Just breathe. I know this might be intense. And then slowly come out, very carefully. Let the foot come down. That might have caused some tension in the arch of the standing foot, so we're going to let that tension go before we get to our peak pose. So the last one that we just did was bound half moon, which probably looked like and felt similar in your body to the half bow that we did on our bellies. Before we go further into our half moon, let's lift the heel of the foot that we just had standing and just rotate the knee around. This way we're getting a nice stretch at the arch of the foot while we flex the toes, and then opposite direction. So in the bound half moon, we had our hand on our foot and the other hand on the block. From here, let's take the other block as we set up for our half moon. And we'll start off by taking our hands to the blocks. We're going to come into a supported warrior 3. So in our supported warrior 3, the same leg that you had lifted before, you're going to lift that leg up. Now, you want your ankle in line with your hip. You don't want your hip coming up just yet. Try to square the hips. The toes are pointed down. Supported warrior 3. From here, we're going to come into our half moon pose, our peak pose. Remember, your grounded hand can be on a block or your body can be up against the wall. Now, from here, I am going to lift my hip. Now I'm stacking the hips. I'm keeping my foot that's lifted flexed. I'm going to gently lift my hand off the block. So with my left hand and my left foot down, I'm reaching my right fingers up. My right foot is lifted. Hand comes down when you're ready. So notice that I looked up, and when I looked up, that shifted my balance. That's going to be really typical, especially if this feels a little wonky for you. You might keep gazing down to the mat. If you're really comfortable in the half moon pose, then you can gaze up to challenge yourself a little more. Now, each side is going to be different, so let's see what happens on the other side. So starting with all that again, we know we're going to do that on the other side, so we'll transition our blocks over there so they're ready when we're ready. So starting off, mountain pose, feet are hip distance, arms are by our sides. Inhale, reach the arms up, gathering energy. Exhale, bring the hands down. Now we're lifting the opposite foot. Now remember, we can keep our hands on our shin, both hands, or one hand to the shin, one to the hip, and we can stay here, or we can take the hand to the wall. Find what's working for you, and then start to play around with your options. So if this is okay for you to have your knee bent, maybe you take your peace fingers to your big toe, maybe you extend your leg. Leg is straight. Doesn't have to be all the way straight. The knee can stay bent. You can stay here, or you can start to open that leg out. Opposite arm moves out. Remember, any of these options is okay. The best one is the one that your body feels the most comfortable in. If your hand can't reach your foot, that's not a problem. You can use a strap or you can opt out. If your knee is bent, you can draw circles with your big toe and then circle around opposite direction. All right, so we're going to come into our dancer first. Take your hand from your shin to your foot so your foot comes back. Knee is bent. Try to align your knees in line with each other. So what I mean by that is if your knee is coming way forward or way back, try to bring your knees in line with each other. Let's start here. Then you're going to look forward, press your foot to your hand, reach your opposite hand forward. Come over to the wall if you need support, if you need a prop. The wall is great to use if you feel wobbly or unsure in the free space. Now from your dancer pose, take your hand down to your block, take your time. You might need to bend your knee and then re-straighten your leg. Deep, deep stretch for the hamstring. Come out when you're ready. So that was our bound half moon. We want to give our standing leg a break. Interesting how one side might feel different than the other. So on the first side, I felt more cramping in my standing foot. On this side, I felt a deeper stretch in my hamstring. Either way, let's balance it out. So the foot that you just had standing, lift the heel, circle the knee, and then circle around opposite direction, just letting the tension go from the foot. All right, just a couple more options, taking it on this side. We're going to come into our supported warrior 3 and then move into our half moon with the block option or the wall. So this time I'll demonstrate with the wall since I did not the first time. So I'm going to take my block to the wall. Actually, I'll bring both of them since we're starting with our supported warrior 3. So supported warrior 3, one block to each hand. From here, we're going to lift one foot. Now remember, toes are pointing down. We don't want to stack the hips yet. We just want to gaze down to the ground. Hips are squared. And then from here, we're going to slowly transition. Now we are going to stack the hip, keep the foot flexed, reach the arm up. So I've got this funky A-lined ceiling, so I can't fully extend my arm. But if you're at the wall, you should feel your hips and your shoulders. This is our half moon pose with the wall support as an option. You can take it here or like I demonstrated the first time on the free space. And when you're ready, gently bring your top arm down to the block. Take a bend in your standing knee and then bring your foot down. From here, you can inhale, take a half lift. Exhale, fold, let the blocks go. And now we're going to ground down. We're going to make our way onto the mat. Bring your shins to the mat. Bring your knees together. Bring your feet together. And then take your hips to your heels for child's pose, just like we did before. From here, arms are going to come by your sides. Lower your forehead to the mat, arms by your sides. Now, if your forehead doesn't come all the way down, do not worry. You can position a block under your forehead. If your hips don't meet your heels, that's all right. You can position a pillow or a blanket in that space. And we're just going to ground down. We had a really strong warm-up. And then we had a strong standing sequence with lots of activation, balancing, backbending, hamstring and shoulder opening, really serving our bodies today using movement as medicine. Now we get to ground down, relax your arms, releasing the shoulders. Just breathe. If you've noticed that you've been doing a lot of excessive thinking lately, you can rock the head from side to side, pressing your forehead to the mat. Third eye space, intuition and intellect. Also the space that regulates thoughts and dreams. Exhale, let go. Feel the back. You can stay in your child's pose as long as you'd like. When you're ready to come out, you can take your hands under your shoulders. Inhale, lift your head up. Crown of the head reaches up towards the ceiling. Straight spine, axial extension. And simply notice how your body feels now at the end of your practice. Know that in this time you are welcome to continue with the rest of your day, or maybe you come into Shavasana, which I really recommend. For our class today, I recommend about 8 to 10 minutes of Shavasana. If you've not done Shavasana before, you can come into this relaxation pose and just let your body ground down, integrating the work that you've done. Tucking your chin towards your chest, lengthening the back of the neck. Just giving yourself time to breathe and be. And whatever point you decide that you're ready to close out your practice, feel free to do so. Thank you so much for joining me today for Half Moon Yoga. I will see you next time. Thank you so much. Namaste.